Thanks. Welcome back to part 2 of me. I'm still Daniel Solomons from Google. I'm still not Matt Bush, and I'm not going to do any anecdotes about my Sunday nights or moustaches. In fact, I'm going to do a completely different sort of presentation here. There's not going to be any little fiddly things, no little search boxes to watch. If you want to, we'll move to the back. Feel free. It's going to be a lot more visual. We're talking about video this time. I kind of want to talk about a few things in audio-visual. And the main thing I want you to kind of take out of this is how online video is changing the way that we are consuming media and are commissioning media. In fact, the BBC are no longer necessarily in charge. In fact, you guys can be in charge, or sometimes some girl who does makeup in front of a camera can be in charge. So it's kind of democratizing media and video. But I kind of want to start in... You can't see the 1, 2, 3 on here. But I want to start in the first place, which is why video in general and TV is very important to people. Then we'll move on to sort of how that's changed and how that's developing in an online world. And then probably most importantly for you guys is how you can take advantage of that. And we've got several ways. I'll just touch on some of them today and leave you some tastes. I'm going to sort of keep walking back out of the way so you can watch the videos without me standing in the way. But to start with, let's get down to the why video is important. Now, to be clear, I've been at Google 6 months. My background before that was brand planning. I'm a video person. I love telly. As much as I prattled on about search earlier, which I think is wonderful, I do have a very deep affinity with audio-visual content. And that's not new. Looking around this room, there's no one really over the age of 90. So we probably all grew up with TV. It's quite an important part of our lives. There are great periods in history that have been recorded on TV or we've enjoyed through TV, be it the coronations, be it great sporting events, be it sad events. And also we use TV to sort of chronicle our own lives and to sort of engage on an emotional level. It's a really important medium. It's probably as close as we get to a real life experience in any media. It's got movement, it's got sound, portrays emotion. It can make you laugh, it can make you cry. And just to sort of tee that up, I'm going to play a little video which is pulled together from a little channel called YouTube you may have heard of, just to kind of show what I mean by that. QAV.
Every single person in the world started this way. He didn't choose where or when he was born. But because he's here, he matters.
Yeah, we've been waiting for you.
Thank you, Snow Angel.
How do you do that?
You do this.
And just like
Any kind of monster, or ghost, or a witch.
24 July.
What the day it is?
It's the best day ever.
I guess politics scares me more than anything. I wonder if we're going to get in another war.
There you go. It's a very emotive medium. Makes you laugh and makes you cry. Glad you laughed at some of those. And I suppose that's why for so many years, TV for advertisers has been magic. It has. It's a really important medium for all of us. So what I want to kind of look at now is how video kind of harnesses the power of sight and sound and why that forges an emotional connection with people. And there's a very important reason behind this. We're kind of pre-programmed to like video. I think the word's atavistic response you get to video. We generally are drawn to motion, we're drawn to vision, we're drawn to sound. It's an evolutionary thing. In fact, it's more with men. If you ever put a man in front of a fire, just stares at the flame for ages. So I'm going to show you a clip from a BBC documentary, and the reason I walked back over is because I can't remember the name of it. It is called Child of Our Time. I don't know if anyone watched this. So basically, BBC followed 25 kids from across different sort of cultural and ethnic backgrounds and filmed them from birth throughout. And this is just one clip that kind of highlights what I was saying about the power and emotional power of TV.
And children are bewitched with their parents' choice of babysitter.
Put a spell on you. Cause you're mine.
There you go. It's quite spooky, that, I find. The commentator used the word bewitched, and they're just completely taken in by that TV. And that's why it is such a massively powerful medium for advertisers. But actually, the big thing that's developed now is that it's not just TV. People are consuming it on lots of different screens. They've been watching online video for quite a while, but the development of decent screens and tablets. Tablets and mobile now account for something like 23% of digitally viewed material. So actually, watching TV isn't quite so important anymore. It's the content they're getting served. And that content, that video content, can be served in many different ways. And it can come from many different places.
When we first started, it was just trying to share these clips with one another. We saw the power of simplifying a process and giving everyone a solution.
Hi, YouTube. We just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Darling, that really hurt.
I'm Clara. I'm 91 years old.
This is the CNN YouTube debate.
Yes, we can.
One of the features of growing old is heightened awareness of change.
Is this real life?
Oh my God, you're walking.
We can't have this.
Just me, because you're ready to go now.
People who are taking these pictures are literally risking their lives to do what they're doing, and YouTube gives them a venue.
Your devices are on. Yeah.
Now, firstly, I must apologise. That was a bit salesy. My remit wasn't to come here and sell YouTube to you guys. But that video had a purpose for me, because I wanted to show how, over 7 years, it's moved from basically a place you upload videos to somewhere that has got some deep, engaging content on it. It's moved into the area of into the area of being a medium. And that's kind of what YouTube is now. And who would have imagined 5 years ago you'd get the Queen on YouTube? And some of those people, they've got enormous audiences. So that Charlie bit my finger thing, I love it. It's had over 500 million views. That's a really big amount of people choosing to watch this kind of thing. And some of that content, you go, okay, that's high quality. Some of it, you wouldn't necessarily commission. It would be niche, let's put it that way. So what we're trying to see here is that actually great content in the online world can come from anywhere. And that's what I want to try and think about now, is actually how can you create great content? Like I said, it's not the BBC saying this is what we want to commission, this is what great content is. This is chosen by the people that go and view it. In a way, it's kind of crowd commissioned. So I'm going to start thinking about different kinds of content. And to do that, I'm going to tell a story of a chap called Michael. Michael was an actor cum director in very fringe type organisation, plays and playing small crowds. He saw a video online in 2007 on YouTube, and it was someone who re-edited The Shining, which is quite ironic because The Shining got re-released this weekend actually. But they re-edited The Shining to be a comedy, and he saw that counter go up and said, "That's a load of people watching, basically someone with an editing machine just chopping it all up." He says, "I'm quite good at what I do, but I'm playing crowds of 20 people. I could make video, I could upload it, and I could have crowds of millions of people. Why don't I try it?" So the reason I'm using Michael is he didn't really use any particular expertise, any equipment. He decided to look into things he thought were interesting, generally in the science and technology area. Like one of the things he asked is, tried to answer the question, what happens if everyone in the world jumps at the same time? He's not a scientist. Like I said, he's an actor and a director. He gets his information by surfing the web, Wikipedia. Hopefully he checks out some of his facts first. And he also doesn't have any sort of high-tech images. He, again, combs the web, takes images of the things there, and splices them together. So I'm going to show you one of his early, just a very short clip of one of his early things, which is the question he was trying to answer is, what colour is a mirror? Or, he's American, a mirror, as he says.
You might say silver, because mirrors are often illustrated that way. And to be sure, they are made out of silver or silvery things like aluminum. But a mirror, in reality, is whatever color you point it at.
Okay, so he made that video using, scrolling down, taking little screenshots of a little camera of himself, and he got 6.5 million views for that. He's actually getting a bit better now. He now works in our office. He's one of our YouTube producers, and we're working with these guys to try and get them to up the quality of their content, but we're still trying to keep whatever it is that's drawing 6.5 million people to watch him talk about a mirror. And it's his authenticity. He thinks this is interesting. This is his own decision, and it's making it happen. So that's kind of one set of stuff. I'm going to show you these guys here. Click. These people, they're called the slow-mo guys. The slow-mo guys did invest in technology. They bought themselves a slow-motion camera. And that's about it. They film stuff in slow motion and they post it on the net. Again, I'm just going to do a little edit of it. There's something strangely hypnotic about it, seeing that water burst slowly out. But all they did is jumped on a water balloon and filmed it in slow motion. They've got 21 million views, that. That's all they did. They filmed themselves jumping on a balloon. And sometimes these things go I can't even say it. Stratospheric, thank you. I'm kind of a little disclaimer here. I am not, and YouTube and Google are not in any way to blame for this. This guy. Anyone like to take a guess how many people have watched the Gangnam Style, the original video? Anyone? So what was that? 600 million? Yeah, it was 650 million. That 650 million is more people than globally watched the World Cup final. All right, they're not all watching it at exactly the same time, but that's a huge amount of people. This guy is now a global star. He was the first Malaysian to go to #1 in the UK. And that's not to mention all the millions of different mashups of different people doing Gangnam Styles. And well, in fact, I've seen videos of Larry Page doing Gangnam Style. I'm not going to do it. Just make that quite clear now. So what is it? What is it between Michael doing his scientific thing and Gangnam Style that makes things so good? What can make these things enormous? So the question we're going to talk about is how you can get involved in it. And I've got several ways of doing this. I'm going to concentrate on 3 of them, but there are probably more. And within the 3 are probably different things you can do as well. So the first one of these, click again, is make some of this content. Well, obviously, I say that, but how are you supposed to predict that a water bubble bursting is going to get 20 million people watching it? It's a difficult thing to do. So there are different ways in which you can tap into content. And I suppose the first of that is to look at what's going on out there. Does anyone know who this person is? Carly Rae Jepsen. Yeah, oh, got some nods there. I think she was in, I might be wrong here, I think she was in Canadian Idol or American Idol, and she's Canadian. That figure on there, the 236, it's much higher now. She's got a song called Call Me Maybe, and in the video there's like this hunky guy in the garden with like muscular thing. But the thing that's really interesting about this is not that it's a really deadly catchy song, it's the fact that it's been mashed up millions of times, well, thousands of times. There's an Obama version. There's a couple of times we've seen Obama. It must be in the news or something at the moment. But it's this bit that has been really interesting. It's kind of become a meme, in a way. People doing that little thing, Call Me Maybe. And Abercrombie and Fitch, who are notorious for having very well-built staff in their shops, kind of thought, well, that's got a thing with us, and people are watching this Call Me Maybe, why don't we jump on top of it? So they created content that was just tapping into this kind of, this theme, this trend. I'm stopping that. Nothing to do with being short time. It's because we're short time. Nothing to do with me feeling slightly inadequate or anything like that. But no, that's one way. You can look out there and go, this is what's happening. And I'm now going to look at something which is completely the opposite of this. And it's a very traditional company doing a very traditional product called Lego. And Lego turned 80. And they decided that they were going to tell their own stories. And this is another way you can do it. You can make a film which is basically telling your story. It's a 17-minute video, and they got, in their first 4 weeks, 3 million people watching it, which is quite astounding for something like Lego. It's quite sweet.
When the plastic molding machine finally arrived, Ole started making little plastic teddy bears and rattles. But he still had the plastic bricks that he had received at the fair. There was something about them that he couldn't stop thinking about. And even though no one else could see the potential in them, Ole decided to redesign and put them into production. But it was when Lego first launched the Great Ferguson tractor that the plastic toys became a success.
Okay, like I said, 17 minutes of that animated film. I don't know why. I mean, it got into the top 10 trending videos very quickly, and it's very lovely. And when I put this on my computer, I suddenly had about a crowd of about 7 people over my shoulder going, "Oh, that's lovely." That's what we get paid to do at Google. It's very nice. But then there's other ways of doing it. That's probably quite expensive, doing the whole CGI thing in animation. But kind of a dirty word has been user-generated content, or UGC. And I think you can use that in a very clever way. So the next example I'm going to show is from a company called Target, who are a retailer in the US. But they have quite a big philanthropic program. And they also stock quite a lot of school stuff. So they put together this program which basically pays money back into schools, makes good schools. And they asked a lot of people who'd applied to college to film themselves getting their results. And this is what you get out of it.
I'm going to college. It's a fish, yeah.
So that worked very well for them. It was emotional, it was simple, it tapped into the things they wanted to show. Yes, it was user-generated, but it was relevant and it was on brand for them. So hopefully you can see there's different ways in which you can make content. And actually, this great content does and can come from anywhere. The second way I kind of want to think you can get involved in it is actually not creating your own content, but working with people that already do. So someone like Michael, who is now a YouTube partner, they're open for sort of commercial partnerships who can help them make content in certain ways. Some of these guys are phenomenally large, and I think what works with this is three things. It's kind of the fact they've already got an audience. That's quite a useful thing for you. Secondly, they're authentic. People are tuning in to watch them because what they have to say feels natural, feels authentic, and that leads on to the third thing, which is trust. And those are three very important things you can capitalize on by partnering with them. So the example I'm going to show is a makeup artist, and I do have to check her name because I always forget it, Juicy Star 7, that's what it is. It's not an easy one. She's a vlogger, or a vlogger, and there is a mascara called Volulift from L'Oreal, and they asked her, they sent her in the post, so could you do one of your vlogs about our Volulift mascara? And she obliged.
Hey everyone, so today I'm here with a very special post to celebrate the 20th anniversary of one of my favorite mascaras of all time, Voluminous. Now this is millions of women's favorite mascara, and I have to say I've been a huge fan for years. If you go back and watch my very first makeup collection video that I made when I was 15 years old, I'm pretty sure when I pull open my mascara drawer, you can see Voluminous mascaras rolling around in that drawer. I've been a fan for years. It's definitely one of my favorite mascaras of all times. I've mentioned it in videos multiple times, and I am super excited because it is its 20th anniversary.
She has a mascara drawer. How many mascaras does a girl need? I've just got the day one and the night one. I don't know about them. There's other people. There's a makeup artist like this. I mean, this is a huge area. This and something called hauling, where people just take their shopping out and go, look at this, isn't it great? And they have huge followings. There's one called Michelle Phan, who has, similar to Gangnam Style, like 650 million views. She's now rated as one of the most influential people in the makeup world, and she's one of these people as well. I find that interesting. But you can do it the other way around. Instead of sort of piggybacking on what people are doing and asking them to do something on the back, you can promote people. You can sort of commission up-and-coming stars. Now, this guy, his name is Chris Kendall. He's actually very funny. But normally what happens in these things, the BBC will go out, actually it's probably someone like BBC Three, will go out, try and scour the world for these funny people. By the time they get them on board, they've kind of BBC-ified them a bit. They've lost a lot of their edge. They've changed their tack. Now, Chris Kendall has this crabstick site, and the BBC have worked with him and other up-and-coming talent to create something called Feed My Funny web exclusives. And this sits on YouTube. It's not just Chris. There's loads of other sort of up-and-coming talent as well. And it also sits on iPlayer. And obviously BBC are related with content, but this is something that brands can get involved in too. And it doesn't have to be new up-and-coming talent. And the example I want to show is Foster's. So Foster's Funny, it goes all in with the Brad and whatever his name is, TV ads that they've got going at the moment. And they think comedy is an area they should be in. So they are now commissioning comedy from past stars. So they've got Alan Partridge doing things, and they've got The Fast Show doing things. But the new material, they've commissioned for it. And the thing that I think is very interesting about this is the use of offline media, specifically cross-track 48 sheets. This is kind of the preserve of Channel 4, saying this is our new TV ad. They're using it to drive people to watch their kind of new comedy strand on fostersfunny.co.uk, and also it's also available on YouTube. But I quite like the fact that it's now sort of working in reverse. The online video is affecting how people are using offline media to promote it. And you don't have to use established stars. You can create your own massive stars as well. How many people watch this? 8 million people watch Felix Baumgartner jump out of a whatever it is at the edge of space. 8 million. That's a live event. It's not really, that's kind of unprecedented. I talked about 650 million people for Gangnam Style. That wasn't all at one time. This is 8 million people tuning in, an appointment to view online video. And that's not to mention the fact that there's been about another 31, 32 million people watching the highlights since. And that's content that Red Bull own. They created it, they got some guy to make it for them, they own it, and now he's become a global star. So I think that's a very interesting development in online video. And I suppose the third thing I kind of want to mention in terms of getting involved in it is the promotion. If you've got online video, you need to make sure people see it. So we saw the cross-tracks before for Foster's Funny. I think that's one way of doing it. And again, I'm trying not to be here selling YouTube, but YouTube have got lots of online formats, and there's online formats in other places that will drive people to see this. So we've got our mastheads, we've got our pre-rolls. But I wanted to talk about the true view format, the skippable format. Not because I'm selling you them here, but because the skippable format has changed the way people interact with online video. They're now getting to the point where they recognize the skip button. They wait the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and they go, okay, I'll skip this ad if I want to, or I'll watch it if I do. The engagement levels are very high, and it works very well. But it also means that advertisers can be creative with that. There's a whole new behavior that they can tap into creatively. And that's where I was going with this. So I'm going to show you a video, and I think this is my last vid, of a company in Chile who have got an eco initiative, a green initiative in Chile, and they've used the skip button in a very clever way. It's all right, we've translated it into English for you. Have a look at this. Sorry, Mac, it doesn't ring so well in English, does it? But I think that's fantastic. It's original, it's effective. They had 80,000 people changing their behaviour, and it's paying attention and paying heed to the new behaviours that are happening in online video. And I think we'll see that as video moves off the TV screen, the mode of consumption is going to be different, and there's going to be new behaviours and new formats. So keep your eyes out for those. So hopefully in that short half hour, I've explained that video is very important. It's something that's intrinsic to the way we view the world. It's very close to us, and we will continue to engage with video. But it's working in a different way. The content is coming from anywhere. It can be commissioned by anywhere, and it can be commissioned by you guys. But more importantly, it's what the audience thinks is good. And what is that? That's fun, that's entertainment, it's informative stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be the glossy things, but as long as you're getting an audience there, it can be very interesting. And the final thing is that it's open. You guys can get involved in it in many different ways. I showed you a couple of them there. Use your imaginations. There are plenty of places to go with online video. And that's it from me. Thank you.